Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Amanda with Widely Rated Homestead, and I am here to show you guys how to care for your cast iron pans. But first, I want to let you guys know you're gonna see me in probably the next few videos in the same outfit. And the reason for that is because I try to divide my life up into zones or areas, and today just happens to be my kitchen day. So what you're seeing is me getting all of these things done in one day so I can be in and out of the area as fast as I can. In full disclosure, this is something that I'm just starting to implement in my life. I have always been one of those people who did not thrive on schedules and, well, thought they didn't thrive on schedules. And I'm realizing more and more that having some sort of a routine takes the weight off. It allows me not to stress. Okay, yes, the kitchen is getting to be a mess, but you know what? It's almost kitchen day. So it'll last another day if it needs to. It gives me freedom to not have to worry about all of the things I have to do because I know what day I'm going to work on those things. And like I said, full disclosure, this is something I am just starting to implement, so I'm definitely not a pro. And my kitchen definitely did not look like this before I started filming. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys that how to care for your cast iron pan. A lot of people are switching back to cast iron. It's a great way of cooking. I love cast iron. I actually have a whole set of cast iron cookware that's currently in storage in my bedroom, and it's kind of killing me, but I don't have anywhere in my kitchen to put it. So I haven't opened it up and I haven't started using it yet. But trust me, that is on the agenda to get someplace to store that. But I do have this cast iron skillet that I use quite often, and it's actually needing to be cleaned right now. So I figured I would go ahead and show you guys how I season it, because you do need to clean it, but then you also have to season it. So here we go. So like I said, my pan needs to be washed. Here's the first and most important trick. Don't use soap on your cast iron. Gross, right? Like I know it sounds super gross. I get that. And I get that there's this idea that we have to use soap to clean things. Cast iron is porous, so you don't want to use any detergents on it. But I'm actually going to grab this scrubber. I don't know if you guys have ever used these products. It's like, I don't even remember what they're called. These sponges, they're amazing. Like, I will never, ever, ever, ever be without these guys again. I don't promote products usually, but these are so good. They get so much stuff off so easy. I was able to clean out my kitchen here in like 10-15 minutes because of how good these things scrub. So they're great for cast iron because you don't have to use any soap, and you just go ahead and get in here and clean it off. And it might seem like it's still a little bit greasy. I like to use really hot water when I do this. And sometimes if the pan's really dirty, I'll even put water in it and let it kind of boil on the stove and then dump it out and try to scrub it really quick. But usually when I do that, I use a brush and not my sponge in my hand, because you don't want to stick your hand in a boiling hot pot. But get it nice and cleaned off. And then I always wash the whole pan to get it nice and clean, including the handle. And then when it's all cleaned out, give it a quick rinse. I gave it a quick rinse. Now that I've dried my hands, I'm going to take... Funny story, guys. I haven't been to the store in a minute. I don't have any paper towel, and I don't currently have any rags that wouldn't leave fibers on my cast iron. So I really don't want to use a rag. A tea towel would work, but I don't have one of those right now to oil your cast iron. So what I'm actually going to do is I have coffee filters, and they are absorbent, and they shouldn't leave any residue on my cast iron. So I'm actually just going to pour some oil in the bowl here, and that's going to soak up the oil while I do the next part. All right, back over here at the stove, I'm grabbing the cast iron, and I'm going to put it on this burner here, and I'm going to turn this burner on high. Might help if I turn on the right burner. This stove is so goofy. It's kind of backwards from my old stove, so it throws me off quite a bit. Anyways, I'm actually gonna let this warm up, and what I'm looking for is, like, right now there's water droplets on it, and I don't want those water droplets to be there when I season it. So I'm gonna let this pan stay here and dry. And this is how you should be drying your cast iron, in my humble opinion. Okay. Put it on a burner and let it burn off that water. Because what'll happen if there's moisture left on it is it will start to rust. The bottom of my pan is actually starting to show some signs of rust. That's why I chose to use this scrubby instead of this one, because the first one I showed you is like has a more intense scrub to it, and you want to get as much of that crumb off of there as you can so that your pan can be prepared to go into the oven to season. So if you can see, I am starting to not have any more moisture left on there. There's a couple of spots like on the handle here or in the pan. So I'm going to let it keep going, and it should be done in like 30 seconds or so. Okay, so all of my bubbles are cooked off, evaporated, whatever. So I'm actually going to turn this off. I'm going to make sure the burner's off. I'm going to move it over here so it's off the heat, and it has a chance to cool down. Normally, I have this silicone rubber thing that goes on the handle so I can grab the handle while I'm cooking, because cast iron, the handle will definitely get hot. So I recommend something like this. I've also seen little crocheted covers, or always use a pot holder. I, as somebody who was raised with not cast iron pans, I have grabbed a cast iron pan with my hand with no anything on, and I burned myself pretty good. So make sure you're using something like this, or a crocheted cover, or, you know, a rag or a pot holder or something. Just be careful and make sure it doesn't get too close to the flame. So these sponges got a little crummy and greasy. So what I'm doing to get them not greasy is I'm actually just using some soap here in the sink and kind of cleaning the sponges. Another great way that you can clean sponges, and I'm not sure if you can do it with these, but I know you can do it with traditional sponges, is to microwave them for a few minutes. It will actually steam clean them and kill all the germs and bacteria for you. Okay, so the cast iron has cooled down. So I'm actually going to bring it over to the burner that it was on before, and I'm going to take my oil-soaked coffee filters here, try to drip off the excess oil, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub it all around the pan, all over the bottom, the sides, the rim, and then up on the handle too. And then you want to do the sides of the pan. It's still a little warm, but can you see what I was talking about with the bottom starting to get icky? I think somebody might have left it on the counter on a wet spot, because that's actually a lot of rust. So I wanted to be sure to get this all seasoned up. And I'm just, like I said, putting that oil all over, and it looks kind of gross, but that's just the seasoning coming off, and all the seasoning is the oil that you cook into the pan, and that's what helps make sure that things don't stick, don't burn. Now with cast iron, one thing that I learned is when you put meat in a cast iron, you're not going to be able to flip it until it's ready, until it's pretty well cooked. So what I highly recommend, if you're going to cook like a steak with cast iron and you need to cook two at once, make sure that you are getting that steak where you want it in the pan. Otherwise, it's going to wind up a mess. So now I have my upper oven, because I actually have a dual oven stove here. I have my upper oven preheated to 450. I'm going to take this cast iron, stick it in here upside down, and let it cure. And it's as simple as that. When it's done, I'll just turn the oven off. I will go ahead and let it cool in the oven, and then I'll pull it out and it'll be ready to cook with again. It's a little bit of extra maintenance, but honestly, for the benefits, I think it's worth it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.